Welcome back to the Lightning Rod Podcast with your host, Kevin Loftus. The Lightning Rod is proudly sponsored by EnviroSpark Energy Solutions. Well, welcome back one and all. Glad to have you back here on the Lightning Rod. Today, we're switching the cadence just a little bit. Instead of doing a podcast, we're going to be doing kind of a reaction video of sorts. Very excited to do this. Some of you may have heard, read, seen, maybe even experienced through the grapevine. Rivian just finally unveiled their new R2 platform. But not only that, they had two other great surprises. To give you a little bit of backstory and context, it's been rumored for quite a while that Rivian was going to unveil their next vehicle, the R2, right? And the idea behind this vehicle is that it's a more compact size. It's considered a mid-size SUV. I'm a big fan, especially of the price point. If you guys remember the R1 S and T, they're flagship vehicles, a little on the pricier side, not for probably the common household to go out and confidently purchase. And so now, man, I'm just noticing these EV prices are getting lower and lower, a little bit more affordable and attainable for the average Joe such as myself. And so I was very eager to watch this unveiling, and I did watch the live stream, and I'm excited to go back. So what we're going to do today is watch the live stream unveiling, bits and pieces of it, and stop and talk about some noteworthy mentionables according to the R2. But they didn't stop there with the R2. They surprised everybody. They actually pulled the wool over our eyes a little bit. They coaxed everybody in to say, hey, yeah, you know what you're here for, the R2, right? Well, come here. Come closer. Come closer. That's not all you're going to get. You're also going to get the R3. But that's not all. You're also going to get the R3X. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, buckle up, because we're about to check it all out. Boys and girls, cats and squirrels, here we are. We're going to check this out. We're going to jump through a little bit. Watch some of this live stream unveiling in case you missed it, and keep it shorter in case you did see it. And I'm going to stop it and give you my personal opinions. What I'd also like to do is read some of the comments on this video and see what people are thinking. I'm interested to get a temperature check of the general public, general consuming public, and see what people are thinking about these vehicles and about Rivian as a whole. Personally, I'm a very big fan. I've got my heart set on that R2 in the future when it comes out. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this video and watch this unveiling.
Let me introduce you to R2.
Hey, you ready?
Look at that thing. What a great silhouette. Right from the get-go, I've just been such a big fan of Rivian's features that stands out so well. App control. Big glass ceiling on that. Kind of teasing off-road capabilities here. Here it comes. Look at that thing. Look at everybody going nuts. Honestly, I'm personally just blown away by the design choices they've made. You can tell just looking at it. It doesn't matter day or night. You see those headlights, you know it's Rivian. Some people think they look goofy. I love them. I think it looks great. Happy little face. So right away, just my first initial thoughts on that trailer that they showed, centered around family, adventure, exploration, kind of gives the sense of, hey, this vehicle is perfect for all occasions. This can tackle anything life throws your way.
the vehicle combines capability, performance, utility, storage, functionality in a way that we think just really fits right into a huge customer need and a huge need within the market. The vehicle size, the vehicle capability really has been optimized around enabling, as I said.
Yeah, in a moment he's going to start talking about the actual size differentials. It's not by much, you know. They shrunk down the R1S just a little bit, enough so that it was still functional, capable. They made some upgrades and adjustments to this based off of the original platform and the desires and maybe even complaints that some customers have expressed to them. So we'll hear about that in just a moment here.
And so we're going to walk through the vehicle, but just starting here at the front. In the front of the vehicle, we have a large front storage trunk.
It's a little tough to see from the camera angle, but you can see that I'd say medium to large size suitcase fits in there with additional items. Looks like they have maybe a laptop bag and maybe a backpack or a pair of shoes, something like that. You can fit a pretty good amount of items in that front. I'm pretty impressed to see it. I feel like some manufacturers have gone the route of shrinking it down, not paying much attention to it. So it's cool to see that they expanded the sizing on that just a little bit.
It's hard to see without sitting in it, but so much effort has gone into making sure the packaging, not just in the front row, but also in the second row, creates this really airy, really comfortable, really spacious experience. Something that really is world class. There's nothing quite like it in this size of vehicle where you get in and you feel so comfortable and it feels so inviting. We did a lot of work to create something that builds a really open air experience.
You can see that right there, the back window. He's going to mention it here, but the back window just dropped down, completely hiding. Kind of akin to the 4Runner, right? The 4Runner's window does that. Back glass drops down into the tailgate. Do love that. He's about to talk about how the R2 actually creates an almost open air experience for the back. Any Bronco lovers out there know that is a staple claim to the Ford Bronco, having, you know, the ability to remove those back components of the vehicle and almost turn it into a truck, right? So they're not quite doing that entirely here, but they are making that airflow situation just so much breezier. I think just in an attempt to connect you with the outdoors and that sense of adventure that Rivian is known for.
Or maybe you saw these quarter windows pop out. And
yeah, that's actually pretty neat too. I remember my aunt had a van. I think it was a Chrysler Town & Country or something like that. Who knows? But it had those corner windows that popped out. And I haven't seen that much in vehicles these days, so it's neat to see, you know, just utilizing the down pressure in the car to create better airflow on the inside.
We leverage the negative pressure off the back of the
pressure,
vehicle,
there you go.
To pull natural air through, and it creates this beautiful open air feeling experience. And then the rear glass, which you just saw drop, also opens. And as you just saw, the second row seats fold flat, but also the first row seats fold flat. And the first row seats folding flat.
That's incredible. For anybody who's ever camped out in their vehicle or attempted to in a truck or SUV of any kind, man, having those front seats be able to fold completely flat is huge. You could throw some air mattresses in there, shorter cots or pads or anything like that if you're a super outdoorsy type of person. Now, you got to think about charging on the go out there, right? But at the same time, being able to go do a little camping trip off-grid style and camp right in your vehicle, amazing.
You're thinking to yourself, well, how does the vehicle size? You're probably looking at me. I'm about 6'1", trying to figure out how does this compare to an R1. Well, we'll tell you, it's about 400 millimeters shorter than.
That's not a lot, right? 400 millimeters shorter. I mean, visual size comparison, you can tell the difference. You can see the back wheel, the outline is the R1, just sticks back a little bit further. So it's still considered a mid-size SUV, probably more akin to like the Ford Explorer or something in that nature.
But to look at it in a driving environment is really helpful. So we'll show you it here next to an R1S.
So here they have the side-by-side, or
awesome.
I guess follow the leader shot.
Just two family members out for a stroll. So we spent a lot of time working through those materials and the overall packaging to create an experience that is as inviting as one could imagine. And we have a lot of feedback from R1. And one of the points of feedback was a desire
This right here.
for a glove box. And
So the R1 platform does not have a glove box, and that was probably the chief complaint that people were giving. Like, man, yeah, it's a quality of life thing, right? But golly, is it convenient to have a glove box in your car? Am I right? Store your vehicle's documents, store little odds and ends that you might need. For me, I put a first aid kit in mine. It's a perfect place. It's very accessible.
we had lots of reasons to not have one.
Two, such a kitschy thing, right? Like, it's silly. It's silly. They put 2 glove boxes in as a response. But I love that. Think about being the driver and having your own accessible glove box right there. Man, just clever. I like it.
On R2, we over-delivered, and we put 2 glove boxes in.
So funny.
The other thing, I mean, there's lots to see here, but one of the things.
So he's going to go on and talk about some of the interior details. You can already see very great little heads-up display in place of the gauge cluster. Nice big screen to the right of that for interacting with the vehicle. Upgraded steering wheel, materials, odds and ends of that nature.
Things that's so exciting is the way we've looked at the controls, and we have these really nice large
controls. This is one of the most interesting things to me about the tech upgrades that they've done in the cockpit of the vehicle, right? So they have these tactile scrolling wheels, and he's about to describe a little bit more about
scroll wheels and the steering wheel. There's dynamic haptic feedback, so it allows us to adjust what it's feeling like when you're scrolling, and it's magical. It takes our existing scroll wheel and really up-levels it to a degree that's hard to fully appreciate unless you're sitting in the car. Now, jumping back out, a lot of work went into the doors. Move the speaker out of the door, gives us space for a large water bottle here, and of course, it wouldn't be a Rivian if we didn't have a flashlight in the door.
I'm a very big fan of when manufacturers of any kind have their own little signature. And what a neat little signature for an electric vehicle company that promotes, outdoor family activity, that kind of thing. Sticking a flashlight in the door. Get a little LED light right in there. You always have one on you. I always find myself needing a flashlight and whipping out my phone. That everybody knows that doesn't work super good. So to stick it right in the door, why not? Come on.
So now, how does this set up in terms of how it functions? And we built an entirely new platform to underpin this vehicle. A lot of work went into driving manufacturing cost efficiency. And it's built around a 4695 cell. So it's a cylindrical cell, 46 millimeters in diameter, 95 millimeters tall. It's a much larger cell than the 21 millimeter diameter cell that we have in R1 today. And that cell's integrated into a highly structural battery pack. So the battery pack in the floor actually makes up a big part of the vehicle structure. The top of the battery pack is actually the floor of the vehicle. So a lot of these innovations that we're driving into how we build the vehicle.
I can already hear some of the concerns, right? That's the number one concern I think folks here in the EV world is like, oh, those Teslas are going to blow up, catch on fire, the batteries right underneath you. What's going to happen? The safety that goes into testing these things is unreal. I live in Atlanta. There's car fires here every day. I've yet to see one that's a Tesla. Personally, that's me speaking.
But from a drivetrain point of view, we have a single motor, rear-wheel drive variant. We have a dual motor, one motor in the front, one motor in the back, all-wheel drive variant. And then we have a tri-motor, 2 motors in the back, 1 in the front. And in the highest performance variants of the vehicle, 0 to 16, well under 3 seconds.
So he was saying that there's a single motor, rear-wheel drive option, dual motor, all-wheel drive option, and a tri-motor where it has 2 motors in the back, independent, and a single up front. So still all-wheel drive, but a lot more capable for things like launches, right? That's the thing people love the most about EVs is how quick they are on the get up, right? Right off the line. They'll take out and get you out of Dodge. So really interesting to see. I think we're going to do a cost comparison here over the 3 different levels in motor trim packages. Personally, I would love to go for the tri-motor package. However, I would most likely stick with the all-wheel drive, 2 motor, dual motor functionality of the vehicle. I'm interested to know, though, what would you guys go for buying your first electric vehicle? Would you consider just the single motor, take it easy for starters? Would you look directly towards the dual motor all-wheel drive, or would you want to up your game and go for gold and get that tri-motor? Let me know in the comments down below.
And then all those motor combinations can achieve over 300 miles in range.
That's a big claim. A lot of manufacturers in this industry claim 300 plus miles, and then after rigorous testing, folks find out that might not be the case. Maybe it's more like 298. Pretty close. You can write that off. Maybe it's like 240. That's a big dip. So I'm interested to see real-world experience after some folks get time behind the wheel, what kind of range it's actually outputting, and if they're delivering on their promise of that.
Now, we talked about the vertically integrated electronics we built that enable this amazing software platform that we've seen in R1. We take that even further in R2. We talked about how the packaging and the design of the structure allows us to achieve really amazing, amazing manufacturability. But we've also focused a lot on sensors and the compute in our vehicle.
11 cameras, 5 radars, 5 sensors. Pretty much full coverage there.
And this has 11 cameras, 5 radars, 4 radars in the corner, 1 long-range radar in the front, which we couple with our new, much higher compute platform, which will enable this to have a very high level of self-driving. And for us, that represents being able to get on the highway, take your hands off the wheel, eyes off the road, and truly operate it where you get your time back. And that's
a big claim.
To our self-driving team, we're really excited about what this vehicle represents for us. Now,
very muffled claps, very muffled applause for that bit right there. Clearly, that the full self-driving is a large point of contention in the EV world right now, both for supporters and non-supporters. So it's going to be interesting to see these other organizations, and especially Tesla, who arguably is leading the charge, no pun intended there, for full self-driving. They just made an announcement about a new iteration of full self-driving that they're working on that looks very promising. I think Elon Musk is calling it neural net processing as compared to fully programmed FSD, full self-driving. And so I'm interested to learn more about Rivian's approach to full self-driving and what that might look like. You could hear him say right there, he said, being able to get on the highway, take your hands off the wheel and eyes off the road, and get your time back. What does that mean? Watch a movie? Fall asleep? Read a book? What are we doing here? What are the implications of making that the norm or making that more commonplace? What are your thoughts on that? Let me know in the comments section below. Do you guys support full self-driving being enacted in all modern EVs, or are you against it? And let me know your reasons why.
And so the R2 starting price will be $45,000.
$45K. $45K. That is an entry-level SUV vehicle. And arguably, I would say that most modern-day ICE vehicles, gas-powered engines, with SUVs of this size, caliber, and what this package is delivering, are much higher in price than that. That is something to be said about the direction that this industry is going. With electric, we are able to manufacture things much more cost effectively and deliver a vehicle such as this at a consumer price point that the average household may be able to afford.
Reserve one starting today.
So you can already reserve yourself an R2. It's $100 to place a pre-order. And that's all that's due until confirmation of the order. And then you can go through financing or pay in full, whatever route you choose to take. But you can hear people getting excited saying, I already got mine. That people are already dropping $100 on that pre-order and just getting their spot in line checked out. So he's going to go on here to describe that the release of the vehicle is slotted for the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. No, I'm sorry. 2026, beginning of 2026 is when this vehicle will be available. So we have a full year and a half, at least, ahead of us before this vehicle is actually in your garage, in your driveway, in your apartment complex's parking lot.
I'm so excited about this vehicle. I'm so excited about what it represents for us as a company in terms of achieving scale, what it represents for us in terms of our collective learning being embodied into one vehicle as the follow product to what we did with our flagship product with R1. But it's important to note, R2 represents not just a vehicle, but it also represents a platform. And I'm really, really excited to talk about R2's sibling.
What?
Which we call R3.
And not only are they talking about it and showing it, it's there. What a well-kept secret. Bravo, Rivian. Good job. Now that I would consider a crossover. Right off the rip, I looked at it and said, this is a lifted up, way cooler version of a Mini Cooper. It's also giving a little bit of Kia Soul vibes, and that might hit people's ears weird. It certainly hits my own ears weird, but man, I love it. I really, really do. It's an even more compact version of that R2 platform.
So you didn't expect that one more thing here.
Little Colombo shout out. Just one more thing.
It takes the package of R2 and the platform, it shrinks it, it puts it into our take on what is a crossover. And it's a vehicle that's almost hard to define what it is, but it so beautifully captures our brand. It captures what we represent as a company.
I feel like we're going to see a lot more of these on the road than the R2 itself. We're going to see a lot more R3s driving around, certainly where I live in the Atlanta metro area, even in the city itself. I think this may be the preferred platform for, folks who live in or around a major city. It's smaller, more compact, but still spacious enough to be able to put your family in there and get out of town for the weekend, go into the hills like this and park in some grass and take some cool pictures.
It's dynamically incredible. The shorter wheelbase, the tighter dimensions, really enable it to be something that's maneuverable and drivable. But as tidy as it is on dimensions on the outside, we've put so much effort into making sure that the inside feels big. And much like we saw on R2, there's a lot of work that went into everything that you see in the rear of the vehicle, the occupant areas in the front of the vehicle. But this is all enabled by the platform. And it's about 5 inches shorter, 135 millimeters shorter than what you see in R2 in terms of wheelbase, but leveraging all that same content. So the single motor, the dual motor, and a tri-motor, the beautiful battery pack built around a larger format cell, our network architecture. Really excited about that. Oh, hello. But I want to spend some time in the back.
Let's look at the trunk. Look at that.
So much time as a team.
Hatchback. Love it.
Thinking about working on how do we create a unique closure experience in the back. And what you just saw happen is the rear liftgate came up. Just like we saw in R2, the first and the second row seats fold flat. So it creates.
So again, that same trend from the R2 is carrying over, where not only the second row of seats fold flat, but the first as well. Still camping ability in this vehicle, which is just, for me, I love camping. So pretty neat.
It's an opportunity for in-car camping, or it creates an opportunity to carry your long gear. But when we close this, there's a second way to get to the back, which we call our flipper glass.
Look at that.
And what I love about this is it makes.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I know each and every one of you, or just about each and every one of you, who owns a vehicle has at one point or another went to Home Depot and bought something that was just too long. And you've probably stuck it out the side window of the car or left the trunk open and threw some bungee cords or tie downs down. Problem solved. Right there. Flipper glass. I like it.
It's easy to get things in and out, but this actuation can actually.
And actually, I'm going to give my personal opinion on this. I love this for my family. If my wife is at the grocery store and I'm not there able to help her, and she's got our son with her and wrangling him into the car seat and trying to get the groceries there, and instead of having the trunk wide open, boom, hit that flipper glass up. Go ahead and drop those groceries right in the back there. You don't have to worry about them moving around, shaking around. Look at that. It's like a drop slot. You can just stick them right down in there, tap that button, it closes, and she's on her merry way back home. I love that. Personally, from a family perspective, I think that's so useful.
You go to multiple heights. So if you're carrying something that's longer, that could be a surfboard.
Throw your bungee cords out, ladies and gentlemen. You don't need them.
A trombone. You can adjust the height here.
I don't know how many of you are carrying around a trombone. I personally carry at least 6 at all times, but yeah, problem solved.
And it's a user setting to make it really easy to carry those bigger objects or bigger things around. And as I said, everything as we thought about this vehicle was around making a smaller car feel really big.
We're going to talk about the use of materials in this vehicle. Very, very, very similar layout to the R2. So you know what you're getting with this. Got those cool haptic feedback knobs in there. Same driver heads-up display, as well as main control screen right there. I believe they got those glove boxes in here as well, which is just hilarious.
But there's one more thing. One more thing. And looking at R3, we wanted to take everything that's embodied and put it into an even higher performance package. And this is something we call R3X.
Oh, yeah. Like quasi rally car? Are you kidding me? Bring it out. Perforated seats. Really cool color. My guy driving this thing out is just so stoked. He can't wait to pick one of these things up for himself. He doesn't want to get out of the car. I wouldn't.
Thank you, Max. I mean, this is just so cool. This is the vehicle. When we walk around in the studio, everybody sees it and they're like, "Oh, I want that so bad." And I think that happens for anybody that sees it. But this captures, as you can see, R3, but pulls a level.
It just looks so much more rugged. I mean, clearly there's, wider wheelbases, kind of protrudes a little bit more. It's more designed around off-road. You can see the tow connect points up front. I love it. I'm obsessed with this thing personally. Maybe I'm going with this. I don't know. We'll see.
Level of like deep performance capability into it. And there's lots of subtle differences. It's a wider wheel and tire, a little wider stance, more ground clearance, tri-motor setup, and a focus on really taking.
So it sounds like the only option for the R3X is tri-motor, which price point is going to be much higher than your baseline R3. And I would guess it's probably going to be higher than the R2 as well. Only one trim level as far as the motor is concerned. Lots of upgrades. Like you said, a wider stance on there, larger wheels, likely ships from factory with off-road tires. You can see the rims are different. Yeah, really interested to see what the price point's going to be on this.
And what you can't see, and I want to show, is the interior on the vehicle is just beautifully laid out. We had a chance to really stretch ourselves. This is an interior combination we internally call rugged playful, because it looks rugged and it looks playful. But the use of materials,
clever,
and the use of how we laid out those materials with cork and with interesting weaves and interesting ways to anodize metal. It feels so uniquely Rivian, but also so unique to this vehicle and to the performance variant.
So right here, I'm just skipping over a little bit. He's talking about where they're producing these things. He's talking about their new plant in Georgia and just how it's going to make this so much easier to produce these vehicles quickly and get them out into the market for the consumers who are eagerly awaiting already.
Every decision, as I said, ties to making sure these vehicles enable and inspire the kinds of things we want to take.
So you can see here he's diving into some of the accessories. So they have custom built, bike racks, a roof tent that works on this entire level of platform. Lots of great little extra add-ons and features straight from the manufacturer. Really, really cool. Just a versatile set of vehicles built for whatever life throws your way.
And so we've also developed a set of accessories that sit on these products that link to making and building those memories. So we have a tent that's so beautifully integrated that goes onto the top of R2 or R3. We have bike racks that make the use of bike.
Now, jury's out. This is something that I'm curious about and I haven't seen answers for. He just said the tent goes on top of R2 or R3. Does it go onto the R1 platform? Is there a conversion kit that somebody can buy to then put the tent on there? These are questions that current owners of Rivian vehicles are going to be asking and hoping for a positive response on. Well, that kind of wraps up the summary of the live stream there. Next, what I'd like to do is jump in to their website and take a look at some of the specs, break it down a little bit. But before we go there, let's just take a breeze through the comments section on YouTube here and see what folks are saying. Man, I really want this brand to succeed. Their cars are slick. Couldn't agree more, NRM Gaming HD. I think there's a fortune teller in the comments section here. If they made a small truck version of the R3, would it be the T-Rex? TR3X? It better be. R2 is a slam dunk. R3 will have a cult following, but not the same mass market appeal as the R2. Hoping this company can cut costs and become profitable very soon. I agree. I think that's what they're aiming at with this R2 launch. $45K entry-level price for a standard midsize SUV. Are you kidding me? That's fantastic. I've been in love with Rivian since the announcement of the R1T years ago. As with most people, it was and will likely always be out of my price point. Agreed. But the R2 is perfect. I've never put down $100 faster. Here's something cool. As a 4Runner owner, I'm seeing the rear roll-down glass. Good work, Rivian. This is going to reach a lot of folks who may have been on the fence about electric vehicles. I'm really excited to see what the turnout is. All right, so moving on, let's go to their website and take a look at a few things here. Man, right away, love their website. As somebody who's done freelance website design on the side, big fan of how this looks and feels. Takes up the whole screen. So today we share our new midsize platform and a first look at our upcoming vehicle portfolio, including the exciting new R2 and R3 product lines. And you can see, all these awesome fancy pictures there. They have the R3X front and center right there. Catches the eye immediately. They kind of tucked away the R2 back there. R2 is our versatile new midsize SUV with room for 5 people and all of their gear. $45,000 starting price, the base trim level, and is available to reserve today in the US for $100 or $150 Canadian. R2 deliveries are slated to begin in the first half of 2026. You won't be getting a delivery until the first half of 2026. So that doesn't even promise January. That could be June. So here's some cool shots of the accessories they mentioned. Love that rooftop tent. A big cube. Pretty cool. Comfortably fits a grown size human being right in there. R2, some glamour shots right here, looking real good. Big fan of this vehicle personally. Really excited to test drive one, take a closer look, and maybe I'll be able to give you guys a closer look and some actual hands-on experience and opinions that will follow. And here's the R3. We're going to take a closer look at that here. Let's see if they show any price points here on the site. So note that this does not have the little token X up front. I'm curious as to why they did that. Maybe just to market and sell the R3X a little harder. Who knows? Further demonstrates the scalability of our midsize platform and delivers even more dynamic capabilities both on and off-road. And then here it is, the R3X. Look at this thing. Golly, it's an absolute beauty, folks. I love it. Some people aren't crazy about the wonky color choices. I love it. I think it's real cool. Earthy, earth tones. It's a good choice. Larger pack will achieve over 300 miles of range on a single charge and offer 0 to 60 acceleration in under 3 seconds for the quickest powertrain configuration. Here's a little breakdown of the battery itself, the cover, the cells. Like it was talked about in the unveiling, there will be a single motor rear wheel drive, dual motor, all-wheel drive, and tri-motor, 2 motors in rear and 1 in front configuration, with the quickest configuration delivering 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. I am not a Need for Speed kind of person. I think it's super fun, but I don't need that to survive. I don't need that to scratch the itch. I want something that's going to be practical and fun to drive and last for quite a while. And so I'd probably stick with that dual motor all-wheel drive personally, but I'm curious to know, again, to pose that question, what would you guys pick? With R2 and R3, our obsessive goal is to stay true to Rivian's product attributes while making our products accessible to a lot more people. So here's the full family right here. We got the R1T, the R1S, the R2, the R3, and the R3X. Pretty amazing look and feel. I love just the profile. You know what you're looking at as soon as it's coming down the road. Rivian, you've got my heart. I can't really find much to complain about these vehicles. Now what I would love to do to finish up here, here's a closer look at the interior. We didn't get a good look at that during the video. You can take a deeper dive here on their website. You can see the cool stitching and inlays and patterns they've gotten laid out here. Heating and cooling throughout the seats. Good internal storage, cup holders, lower storage, and 2 glove boxes. What a hilarious thing to do. I love that they did that. You know, here you go. Here's your heads-up display. Got some video, some camera on there maybe. Pretty neat. Rivian's new steering wheel with integrated haptic control dials make it easier to stay focused on the road ahead. Yeah, man, even just navigating those touchscreens while you're driving on the road doesn't feel like the safest thing in the world to me. Having something like haptic controls to know, like, okay, I'm going 2 notches down to the radio, 2 notches down to my Bluetooth or whatever, or climate control settings. It's great. A nice, good, clean, wide frame look at the inside of the vehicle. Closer look at the accessories. We got this little kitchenette attachment that goes into the trailer hitch. Kind of a big fan of that, actually. I think that's pretty neat. It does jut out and look kind of funky, but if I was taking this camping, man, what a space saver, you know? Got your rooftop tent, just all in one vehicle right here. You can camp inside, you can camp on top of it. Whatever you want to do, man, sky's the limit. Reserve R2, learn more about R2, learn more about R3. So you cannot yet reserve the R3 or the R3X. I'm assuming we'll likely hear a little bit about that, you know, further into 2024, closer to the end of the year. I'm sure they'll make an announcement about when the R3 is going to be available. Okay, so let's go to Car and Driver and take a look at what they have to say about it. Wow, the estimated starting price is $37,000, so even less than the R2. Also, note that it says 2027 Rivian R3X. That could mean deliveries could start as early as the end of 2026, or it may be mid-year 2027. Time will tell. Let's go ahead and take a look at this article here. Overview. EV maker Rivian's smallest SUV yet will be the 2027 R3, which takes the shape of a tall hatchback with meaty tires and some ground clearance. Details are murky, but at the R3's reveal event, Rivian announced that it would ride on the same platform as the compact R2 SUV, and that a performance-oriented R3X model will be included in the lineup as well. Single, dual, tri-motor configurations are likely along with 2 different battery sizes. The largest battery should provide an estimated driving range of over 300 miles. The interior design is similar to other Rivian models, mixing a rugged and upscale situation together. Pricing and which one to buy. Let's take a look at this. The price of the 2027 Rivian R3 is expected to start around $37,000 and go up to $47,000 depending on trim and options. And yeah, I think that makes sense, landing closer to the $50K mark with the R3X for sure. So let's go ahead and jump over here to the Rivian forum, see what some folks are talking about. Here we go, another comparison to the Mark 7 GTI. That's what I drove right there. I've driven and loved a 6-speed Mark 7 GTI for 6 years. Like everyone else, I was shocked with the R3X reveal and immediately intrigued by the styling and rally-inspired performance. Yeah, kind of quasi-rally car vibes, right? But I was initially concerned it might be bigger than it appeared in pictures, so I tempered my enthusiasm and did some sleuthing to find dimensions. Feel free to check my math. Man, people on the internet really are detectives, aren't they? So the R3X length is estimated by this guy's math to be 161.4 inches, whereas the height is 59.5 inches roughly. Sounds about right. Needless to say, my enthusiasm is no longer tempered when I found out the R3X is only 1.7 inches taller and somehow 6.6 inches shorter than a Mark 7 GTI. The tiny overhangs, I guess? Pretty sure that's my next car. As a previous GTI owner, that excites me as well. Golly. Like you and many others, I too was enamored with the R3X when I saw it. I'm glad you did all these dimensions for me, as I was interested in that as well. I'm going to stop myself here. I'm getting too far in the weeds reading these things. What I'm looking for is a negative comment, and I just can't seem to find one. I really can't. I mean, I've moved all through this. Granted, this is a Rivian forum. Something like The Verge may give us a differential in their comments section. R3 looks awesome. R3 looks great. I hope it's cheap. Yeah, R3 will go down in history as an all-time good-looking SUV if Rivian survives that long. The only negative feedback I'm hearing is that folks are kind of holding their breath. They're waiting on bated breath to see if Rivian makes it for the long haul. I think with the vast amount of pre-orders they just got for the R2, things are probably looking pretty good on the investor side. We'll see. I'll keep my ear to the ground and keep you guys updated with any feedback that I hear on Rivian's longevity. I, for one, wish them the best. I have my heart and hands set on gripping that steering wheel myself and pulling it into my own garage. What about you guys? I'm excited and eager to hear your thoughts. Please leave comments down below. Just let me know. Are you for it? Are you against it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I want to know. I can't seem to find any negative feedback other than the longevity of Rivian's lifespan out here on the wild, wild web. There you have it, guys. Quick look and breakdown of the live unveiling event from Rivian. Thank you, RJ, for just being a rad-looking guy. Just a cool dude. Pretty chill. Go get some chicken wings with him if I ever have the chance. But what do you guys think of the Rivian R2, R3, and R3X lineup? I, for one, am very excited, but I want to hear from you. Go ahead and leave a comment down below and let me know. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Answer some of those questions we talked about before. Make sure to subscribe, like, and check back in for more from the Lightning Rod. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, and I will catch you guys on the next one.